so chaotic, I feel like it's turning into how not to repot your bird of paradise. Hello, I'm Jacinta. Welcome back to my channel, Past That Plant. Today I'm going to attempt to repot the bird of paradise I have here in the corner. This is the giant white bird of paradise, or the Strelitzia Nicolai. I got this houseplant in 2022 and it is now 2026 and I have not repotted it in that time, so it is well and truly time to do that. If you have been following me since then, you would remember the day that I got it. Marvin was there, of course, in the back of the car. This plant was in there. I had another little schnauzer Lulu in the back. It was like a clown car with all the schnauzers and plants coming out of it, and I loved it. Today is actually the 9-month anniversary since Marvin passed. He really loved to sleep on this couch under the bird of paradise, so lots of good memories with this one. The plan is to refresh the potting mix without going up a pot size, although I will see what the roots look like once I get in there. The reason I don't want to go up a pot size is this plant is already ginormous and repotting it into a bigger pot will only make it grow bigger. The plant is also sitting quite far forward in the pot and it is leaning a little bit, so I'm hoping that I can realign that and have it sitting backwards a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. There was a bottle sitting in this one, which definitely needs a clean as well, so I've taken that out before I move it. I watered this one a few days ago, which was silly of me. But I am worried once I move it the water may fall out the bottom, so I am going to put a towel down just in case. Okay, my towel is down. There's a few other things I need to be quite careful of. My lovely Christmas cactus has a few little buds on it, and the buds are very fragile, so if I tap it with a bird of paradise they will fall off. I also have Alfie here today, who is my little 1-pound shadow. So I've got to make sure I don't take him out with the plant. He's easily startled, so I'm hoping he'll just hide away. But yes, he's just visiting. I am going to be repotting in this room on the carpet, which may sound crazy. I do have a few repotting mats I'll put down. The reason I'm not doing this outside is because I would have to carry it down 2 flights of stairs, repot it, and then back up 2 flights of stairs. Last time I weighed this plant it was 35 kilos, which is more than half of what I weigh, so that is definitely not an easier option. Okay, let's go. Moving it over here wasn't too bad, and it's on my repotting mat. Now would be a good time for me to clean the leaves because I can reach them all. You can really see how much it is leaning forward now. I would like it to stand up taller, so let's see how we go with that. As always, well, as with most of my plants, this bird of paradise is in a nursery pot inside the decorative planter. I do remember now when I put this nursery pot in the decorative planter, it was very snug and only just got in, so I'm a little bit worried I won't be able to get it out. But there's only one way to find out, so let's try. Remember when I said I just watered it and I shouldn't have? There is some leakage, so lucky I have it on my repotting mat. I am just going to mop that up, of course, before we continue. A bit. Yes, I can see there's some roots coming out the bottom. There is a plant saucer in the bottom of this pot, which is what it's dripping into. You can really see how all the foliage is going one way. So I'm going to try and sit it a bit further back in the pot, but probably not go up a pot size. I could also divide this bird of paradise, which is the easiest way to propagate them. There is a very clear split I could make to make 2 plants, but considering I barely have enough space for this one, I don't think making a second one would be the best idea. I will, however, trim off some of the excess stem down the base where I have cut off leaves and didn't cut them right back, even though I recommend that's what you should do. Okay, I've just had to shut one of my blinds because it was so bright in here that I was just a black shadow. I often get comments from people saying, your house looks so dark, how can you grow these plants? My house is so bright, I just tend to film when it's not direct sunlight in a room because, look, I disappear. So yes, that is why my house looks dark sometimes, but I promise you, it's very bright, it gets a lot of direct sunlight, too much you could say, and it's a struggle to film. But I digress. I am now going to try and lay this plant down so we can have a look at these roots and go from there. I do also have a little bit of a splint on one leaf. We had guests staying in this room. I don't know what happened, if it was luggage, rage, an accident, I don't know. But a leaf did get bent. I did splint it and it's been fine. And it's been like a year now, so that's a win at least. Okay, I'm now going to try and get her out of this pot. I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, but repotting her outside isn't a go due to the stairs. Repotting her in my office isn't a go because it's too freaking sunny in here. But I can repot in the bathroom, which will make it less messy and no one will be blinded by the sunlight. So let's carry her in there. Really getting a workout today. Another old towel. Right. Alright, quick relocation and we are ready to continue with the repot. Oh my lord. Very solid. If you get upset when I stand on the edge of the bathtub, especially with socks on, look away now. Anything to get the shot right. Alright, I'm getting boiling, so the hair's going up. And we'll have a look at these roots. It is winter in Australia and it does get very cold here, but it's 18 and sunny today and I'm feeling the heat. I wouldn't usually recommend repotting in winter, but again, it doesn't feel like winter here. And this bird of paradise needed some love, so sometimes you just have to bend the rules a little bit. See, even my bathroom is very bright if I have both doors open because I've got a skylight as well, and again a lot of direct sunlight, and I have the exposure down on my camera, so I have a very bright home, even if it looks dark sometimes. I now need to decide what I'm going to do with my giant bed of paradise. The roots are quite root bound, but this plant, like a lot of plants, does like to be in a snug pot. It's what helps them to flower. I will definitely do a soil refresh. I'm just not sure if it'll be able to fit back in the same pot. I'm going to try and loosen the root ball a little bit and get off some of the old potting mix, and then hopefully I'll have enough space to put it back in the same pot and just position it a little bit better so it's not falling forward so much. So let's give that a go. So I'm just using a metal straw to gently try and loosen some roots, but I don't know if this is even gonna work. And yes, I need to get rid of all of this. I think gloves and a hand will do better, and I'll cut these off now too. This is so chaotic. I feel like it's turning into how not to repot your bed of paradise. There's nothing wrong with leaving this excess stem on. It is more just for aesthetics. You can really see here the two different plants that I could divide, and you can do that just by cutting all the way through the roots. But I'm making a big enough mess as it is today, so I will leave it at this. Okay, I really don't want to go up a pot size, so I am just going to try and remove some of this potting mix. I will put new potting mix back in my pot at the base, put the plant in, try and align it a little bit better, and then add a lot of fresh potting mix at the top. Hopefully that will help it stand up better. Can you see? Probably not. Using gloves. Loosening up the potting mix a bit. Oh, she's a big gal. I didn't even notice this big bit because it's still quite green. I love it. Gloves for repotting to try and keep your hands clean so we don't get Legionnaire's disease. And also a lot of sap of plants is toxic, so you just want to be careful when cutting them back as well. Not going to worry about loosening the roots too much more because then it'll just be more voluminous and won't fit back in the pot I'm trying to put it back into. So on to adding fresh potting mix. So I have some mesh rounds which I'm putting in the base, just over the holes, the drainage holes, so the potting mix doesn't fall straight back out. Wouldn't want to make a mess in here. Right, I've got my chunky aeroid mix. Put some in. Put my bob in, try and angle her backwards a little bit more, and then add a lot of topsoil and around the sides. Let's do that. Okay, to make sure that it sits straighter up, I'm going to have to remove some roots. plant this side. So let's do that. Very satisfying. After me saying I wasn't going to disturb the roots too much, you know, I just do stuff on the fly. It's very much chaotic plant care on this channel. Okay, I should now be able to put it in the pot further back so it sits up straighter. Much better. So now I can put a bunch of potting mix at the front and she should sit up a lot straighter. Just giving it a bit of a quick sweep before I put her back in her pot so I don't get potting mix all over my feet. Well, socks. If I wasn't filming this, I probably would be barefoot, but whenever I'm barefoot, I inevitably get comments from people who like bare feet, and that's what this channel is about, you know?
Hi, darling. There's so much going on. I'll just get out of here.
I think this repot has surpassed my begonia repot for the most chaotic repot. But you've all seen how beautiful my begonia is, so hopefully this one ends just as well. Much smarter to do it on the tile floor as well, because my carpet would not have enjoyed this. Try and fill it up a little bit higher as well. I might not even put the bottle back in, as it is winter and she won't need as much water. Though, as a tropical plant with massive leaves, they are thirsty. I feel like if you're watching this, you're probably feeling stressed. I think this is a win. I didn't think it would be so easy to get all these roots off. So I love that. She's sitting so much better. I know it's crazy. Probably can't tell, but she is. I'll show you, don't worry. Okay, I will put her back in her spot before I water her, because she's already heavy. So I have my plant saucer, which I put in the bottom of my decorative planter because there is holes in it. A little hack that I like to do is to keep the silica packages, which come in products when you buy them. I pop them in the bottom of my decorative planters to absorb any excess water that I spill, which based off my repot, you know that I do spill. Okay, now I'll put my plant back in and we'll put her back on her stool, I think. I don't know, I'm liking her more now because she's not leaning forward as much. So maybe I will put it somewhere else. Not sure now. Anyway, let's put her back in her decorative planter first. And it'll fall in again. And there you have it, easy, right? You're probably thinking, wow, she really made the biggest mess ever, but it is contained to the bathroom and the tile, and most of it is on the repotting mat. Somehow I've managed to keep my carpet clean, so chaotic but also works. She's honestly sitting so much nicer now. She's standing up nice and straight and tall, and it's more even where the foliage is falling, which does give me a problem of where to put her now because I don't think she will appreciate being in the corner. I've got two big windows here which are north facing, so I could maybe move around some plants here or in my bedroom. I don't know. I'll get back to you when I've decided and do a little cleanup in the meantime. Hello, it's a few days later. Alfie's now gone, Ernie is now here, and my bird of paradise is still in the middle of my office. I think the repot went a little bit too well, and she's sitting so beautifully now. She's not leaning at all. The foliage is fanned out and it is now even bigger than before. So I still haven't decided where I'm going to put it. I do think behind my desk is a good option, but I haven't decided yet. So sweet Ernie's here. If you've watched any of my other videos, you would know that this was Marvin's bestie. He's been here since Monday. It's now Thursday. So the repot was a success, despite how chaotic it was. Today I'm going to water the plant and mist and clean the leaves. I haven't watered it already, one because it just makes it heavier, and two because, as you would have just watched, I was quite rough on the roots, so there would have been some open wounds, and you don't want those getting wet as that can cause rot, just like when you prune off some leaves or a stem that's just a little bit raw there. But it's been 4 days, so it'll be fine to water it now. I have also spotted some new growth despite it being winter, which is why I'm not too worried that I repotted it at this time. But let's give her a water. I've just given her 500 mils of water, which is plenty for this time. Again, I don't want all of the potting mix drenched and potentially causing any issues with those exposed roots. This is just tap water. As I've said many times before, I'm very lucky to live somewhere that has soft tap water, so it is fine for most houseplants. I do also collect rainwater and love using that when it is on hand, but you can use whatever water you usually do. I'm going to give this plant a good mist now. This is just water, and then I'm going to wipe all the leaves because it's usually not this accessible. You can see they're a little bit dusty from where I haven't been cleaning these very top ones for a while, so I'm going to do that. It will help the plant photosynthesize better, and cleaning the leaves also helps to deter pests, or is a good opportunity for you to get up close and personal with the leaves to check for pests. The bird of paradise is susceptible to mealybugs, spider mites, and also scale. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I've had this plant since 2022, so 4 years now. And when I first got it, I didn't know that much about houseplants, especially how to treat them when you first get them home. I didn't do any pest treatment. I didn't really know how to check them. And after having it for a few months, I discovered the biggest colony in the world. No, the biggest colony I've ever seen of mealybugs living under one of these big beautiful leaves. I will find a video and add it so you can see. It was traumatizing. I nearly gave up on plants and plant care right then and there, but lucky I didn't. It's another reason why I go in with neem oil monthly now, to deter pests. And then if I do have a pest infestation, I go in with a white oil. I find this is a great insecticide to use. I'm not using the neem oil today as this one is sitting in direct sunlight for a lot of the day. And if you spray your plants with neem oil and then they get direct sunlight within 24 hours or so, it can scorch the leaves. I did just have someone on my TikTok say, no, neem oil doesn't burn plants, it's only if used in alcohol spray. So there's definitely some misinformation out there, because I have in fact burnt this plant using neem oil, and I will show you, because the leaf is still there, but it has very clear burn marks and spray marks. So let that be a lesson to you. Gosh, you can't see these leaves, but they're beautiful. You can really see very clear spritz marks of the neem oil, so be careful of that. I don't know if the mic is picking this up, but Sweet Ernie is really snoring like a freight train. It's comforting because Sweet Marvin used to snore in my videos, but also sad because it's not Marvin, but I do love Ernie. If anything ever happened to his mama, touch wood, I would take him in a heartbeat. But let's hope that doesn't happen. I think that's it for the Bird of Paradise Strelitzia Nicolai repot. It was a little bit chaotic. I myself was a little bit worried there, but the results really speak for themselves. She's sitting up so much better now. It's not leaning at all the foliage is laid out how it should be. So now I don't know where to put her still. I am going to raise her slightly now onto a stool, just so she's not blocking off the way to the bathroom. But beyond that, I've still got to find a permanent spot for her. I do think I will end up putting her behind my desk where there's two large windows, but then you won't see her in any videos anymore. But alas, she'll be happier. Again, I should have done this before I loaded her. Oh, she's heavier now. Let's hope I don't have to repot it for another 4 years. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye. I'm gonna make the biggest mess. Oh, good stuff.